Welcome to Enhancing Your Empathic Journey Now. I am the AliNICOLE, wow, she does it all. And I'm also an Empathic-preneur Empire Advisor. I am joined in this segment by Empathic Power Awakener, Brenda Jacobson from Awakening Consciously. And we will be focusing on the topic of creating more abundance and financial well-being as an empath. And we both have resources that we will share before the close of the segment. And those resources, of course, are going to be most helpful for you to succeed in this area. So welcome, Brenda.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you again.
Thank you. Excited to have you on this particular platform here. And before we actually jump in and get started, because we're going to be talking about, this subject here, and it's really important. Would you like to share just a little bit about Awakening Consciously and just some of the work that you do, not just with empaths, but also around the chakras? Do you want to touch on that really quickly?
Sure. It's work that I've been doing, for 20 some years now. Even as a corporate executive, I brought that into my team building. Because, the whole goal is to optimize the potential of people across the board.
Yes.
It always has been. It's what companies are built on. It's what lives are built on. And for me, the best tool, I looked at a lot of tools and I took a lot of training and I used them with my teams, but I've never found anything as powerful as just understanding the signals that your body is sending you. And listening to that voice of your body. And the way to do that is to really understand the chakra system in your energy body and how that can really guide your life in ways that are totally unexpected. So I teach people how to, what the significance of the 7 main chakras are within our physical bodies, and how that impacts physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being.
Which all ties into the abundance and financial well-being as well. Because we both know that, especially with the first chakra, with the root chakra, from the financial perspective, that really does have to be grounded and healed and healthy in order for one to, as you talk a lot about in your work, Stephen, be able to contain the abundance, and the flow. And so I feel we're going to have kind of some back and forth, with this particular aspect too, as it relates to creating more abundance and financial well-being. But I just kind of felt guided to open up with, that energy of you sharing, about that. And like I said, we can talk a little bit more, and before the close of the segment, I'll have you, share some other things. But something I want to jump in real quickly, because, the subject of abundance, we know is extremely layered, and it's so much more than just the financial aspect. However, today, we actually do want to focus on the financial element, and how important it is for empaths, especially during this time. And that may be why I was guided to even bring up, set the stage with even opening up with you talking, about the chakras. And I'll have you, speak a little bit more to that in just a little bit. As you know, often empaths, they struggle with their finances. And even though they embrace the benefits of holistic abundance via experiencing in many forms, like an abundance of friends, an abundance of time, abundance of gratitude, in those areas. But what we know about this new empathic experience, it really does involve empaths or empathic leaders and influencers really showing up as these symbols of high-end service providers and also demonstrators of of financial well-being. So I kind of want to have a conversation about this, and then, we can talk a little bit, you can integrate how the chakras work with that, and then we can, you know, provide some resources for empaths to really take things to the next level. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Much like, you know, I like what you said about abundance being multi-layered, because health and wellness is exactly the same. Like we think of health and wellness being our physical body, but it's not. It's our emotional, our mental, our physical, our spiritual. It's the financial aspects. It's much like abundance, where it's got multiple layers to that, and those are all addressed through the chakra system. So
yes, you are so right. And the saying, our health is our wealth, you know, going back to what you just said. And if we don't have financial well-being, which is financial wellness, which plays a part in our wholeness. And so on the empathic journey and this experience, and being able to set the stage for others to start enhancing this experience even more, is that, you know, when they've, how can I say it, when they've been on the journey where they have been really appreciating life and abundance and what comes to them, and, you know, not necessarily being complainers or different things like that, and they allow that level of the abundance to flow, but often they are constricted when it comes to allowing the financial well-being, you know, to flow in. And the thing about it is, this is the time that empaths really need to start not just creating more abundance, because we are the creators, you know, and I think sometimes we don't realize that, but creating more abundance in all forms, yes, but intentional now about the financial well-being. And so would you agree that this is definitely the time to be shifting into that and being very intentional?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe that, and you've touched on it as well, that empaths need to lead the way. Like they're the trailbreakers. This is how we're going to teach the entire world to be.
Absolutely.
The plan for the evolution of the planet is us.
Absolutely. That's right.
It's us. And the empaths are the leaders. They're the influencers in that whole evolution. And it just can't wait.
No, it can't. Yeah, it really can't. And the financial piece at this point can't wait either, because for the expansion that is taking place, it is going to take next level resources and resourcefulness in uncommon ways to bring about, you know, the greater expansion. And so a lot of times people will try to do what they can do without having to integrate the financial aspect into it. And that's okay, because that can take you to a certain extent. But there comes a time where, as you level up, you have to allow the greater expansion to come in the financial piece. And because within this evolutionary expansion that's going to be taking place, in which, you know, through the teachings and different things that you've been a part of with me, and then, you know, your own personal experience, is that with knowing that we are the ones who are going to be the illuminate force in this new grid and the new trajectory. And again, that means that within that demonstration, there has to be the demonstration of wholeness. And so the wholeness is not just, okay, I've got this over here and I feel abundant here, and I don't want to come off as if I'm all about the money and all these different things, you know. And it's like, you have to have balance. And so, you know, a lot of times people aren't just suffering in some cases, or empaths, from kind of just, you know, mental illness in a sense, but financial illness, and they are not financially well, which is a part of the wholeness experience. And so as we're focusing on the well-being and the financial well-being primarily, is that calling forth, I guess, for a shift, and the shift in the present moment to say, yes, you've grounded and anchored the abundance of the universe in multiple forms, and you're grateful and you're appreciative. But in order to now be able to be this demonstrator of a higher level of the giftings, you have to be able to now allow that financial well-being to be in place. Because I'm just going to say it, but you know, most people aren't interested in really following somebody who's broke.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, what we've seen in the past with
or broke in. Yeah.
What I've seen in the past with empaths is they use their gifts, but they can't even support themselves with it.
Yes.
So they have to take the most of their time to go out and get a job that pays them so that they can feed themselves and create a lifestyle. And the empathic journey ends up becoming a hobby for them.
Right. When it's supposed to be the major, it's supposed to be the main star. Yeah.
It's not going to work in this new energy. It needs full 100% focus, which means that there needs to be financial wellness.
Absolutely. There has to be the financial, you're right. There has to be the financial wellness, and not only just the financial wellness in terms of, yes, to be able to support themselves, and as I mentioned, take things to the next level as it relates to the grander mission, but the higher levels of service that they need to be stepping more into is as business owners for themselves, and also too allowing themselves to be, you know, positioned in some higher level aspects, not just going to any old job just to make ends meet, or just they really have to now leverage that power and that the energy and the empathic giftings to allow them to now come into a more divine space, a higher divine space, and something, you know, you've been a part of with me teaching about the ascension empire models, and how empaths really need to be in that. They need to really be in service for themselves, but in the high-end aspect, whether it's a healer, whether it's a coach, whether it's an advisor. Of course, I teach the gateway of writing, you know, and everything. And of course, you've been, you know, part of all of that experience. And so something I do want to bring up really quick, just a segue so that we can actually come back to talking a little bit about the chakras, primarily the root chakra, because when you were co-facilitating with me in my masterclass, Highly Sensitive to High End, the Right WRITE way, I had you come to share about the root chakra, and as it relates, you know, to the finances, you know, and everything, because that foundation has to be there before we can really start talking about, you know, building high-end structures. But you have, you know, getting to the root of your financial greatness for empaths. That's one of the publications of yours wanted to highlight for this segment, and it is Insights and an Intentional Journal for Creating Abundance. So do you want to talk a little bit about what's in that, you know, publication for a leveling up aspect, and then anything else that you might want to address around the root chakra primarily, and and you've got publications on that too, so I'll, you know, make sure that I'll have that in the description, you know, as well. So just love to hear anything you have to share.
Yeah, the root chakra is really the foundation of the entire chakra system. How many people know somebody who just, people are attracted to them, everything flows to them, they've got that charisma, and, you know, we talk about them having a life by the tail, or, you know, just being in the flow of things. Those are people who have a really healthy root chakra because they're very well grounded. And the root chakra is where we build the container to hold everything that we desire in life. Just without that container, you can create flow, but you can't hold it. That's what we need in order to really start to build that financial wellness, is we have to be able to hold on to what we create in our lives. On the other side of that, there's people who, you know, came into an inheritance, who won a lottery, who came into a great financial flow, but a year later they were bankrupt. I mean, that happens more often than not. The stats are quite staggering on that. And that's because those people, they created the flow somehow, but they did not have that container to hold it and put it to use within their life.
Yeah, so that's happening with empaths primarily, is that they do create the sacred space and the container for the abundance, so to speak, but it's exactly what you just said. But the thing about it, when the root chakra is not healthy, it's not strong, then though you may create the opportunities for things to manifest, there you won't be able to hold on. It's like how the Bible says that you put money in a purse with holes, you know, and so it's much like that. It's, you know, if you got holes in the bag and you pour something into it, you know, it's going to seep out, you know. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's creating that solid thing. And that's done, you know, in getting to the root of your financial greatness. We take people through 3 or 4 different stages of creating that. And the first is just to become a really avid vibration seeker. Just to make sure that you're always aware of where your vibration is, because it moves around on us. You know, we can go contracting thoughts around fear and anger and disgust and hopelessness. That's normal to go there. It's just a matter of how long do you hang out in that energy.
Exactly. Right.
And
right.
Yeah, and so it really is driven by your thoughts. Mahatma Gandhi said a man is a product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. And that is so true. We can see that every day, and minute by minute, you can shift who you are becoming, who you are choosing to be. Absolutely. By managing that vibration, which comes through your thoughts and your emotions. So we work with people on just practicing how to turn their thoughts around. You know, those negative or those contracting thoughts are absolutely normal. When you're aware of them, there's a really powerful strategy for shifting that around in the moment. Yeah. And then just helping people get to their inner truth, to really tap into who they are at the core of their being, what are wants versus needs. And understanding, understanding that, because wants, there's a real difference, and we kind of lump them together into one thing, but really understanding what we need in order to create all of those, to attract everything that we desire, to really build that whole life wellness.
Yes.
It comes through that, through the root chakra, through creating that really strong foundation. When you create that foundation in the root chakra, all of the other chakras build from that. It's like the foundation of a building. If it's a weak foundation, it doesn't matter what you put on top of it. It's going to weave and sag and not be able to withhold the stress that is put on it.
Right.
So really tapping into that root chakra, working on the grounding. Grounding is everything. Tapping into that earth energy, pulling it up into your body, and it's your right to be here and to have everything that you desire in this life. That is an innate right of ours.
You're right. It's the birth. That is the birthright. I want to jump in real quick, because I love everything that you're sharing, and of course, you know, I resonate and co-sign, with it. Is the thing about, you know, the right and the birthright, and that's something that, you know, I talk about and teach, that it is time for empaths to take their rightful places and rightful positions, you know, in not just their lives, but in the marketplace, and be that living demonstration, you know, of the truth, and what you were just, you know, mentioning. And the truth of empaths in the new encoding and the new empathic experience is that, and I will chronically state this, are designed and hardwired to be high-end service providers. And you just can't work against your encoding.
No.
And so you can't be, you know, an acorn and you have the desire, you know, to be a Fraser fir. That's not the encoding. The encoding is an oak tree. And so with empaths particularly, when we are here to be, yes, demonstrate abundance on various levels, but the financial piece is the piece where they have to really start showing up and allowing themselves to be, you know, more expansive. I want to go back to something that you said. I'm trying. I probably have to paraphrase it, but whatever it was, it prompted me to end up saying that when you're traveling, don't mistake a rest stop for a residence. And I think what triggered that was that when you mentioned about, you know, where we camp out, how long you camp out, you know, somewhere, like on negative thoughts and things. It's like, okay, if you, let's say that you are having a bad day, you're having some negative thoughts, because I mean, that's the human experience sometimes. And you decide that, okay, I went there, but you don't have to stay there. So it's like, you know, don't set a residency there and then pitch a tent and camp, you know, don't even stay overnight, you know, don't even stay a few hours. Like if you're traveling, you got off and you used the restroom and got some snacks and then you got back on the road. Do not stay there long enough to create a trajectory. And so that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother you know, conversation. But you know, going back to the core focus, obviously for today, is about being able to enhance and expand the awareness for empaths on this juncture of the journey, so that they do know that this is the time to be stepping up and stepping into your new financial trajectory. And you got to be aware of the timings, because just like when, you know, summer shifts, don't try to have on a sweater in, you know, in July, and then you wondering, you know, why you're bursting in the flames. You got to be in tune with the, you got to be in alignment with the season. And so don't try to be in this season just trying to be very abundant in all the, you know, stars in the sky and you know, just what you get where I'm going. It's just like, this is the time where, no, you have to be intentional to enhance this part of your journey that needs not only just redefining, but refinement, because it is a newer trajectory. So before we get ready to actually wrap up, which I'm actually going to have you to close us out after I share, you know, some resources, you know, and everything. But did you want to, at this moment, before I provide those, did you want to provide a tip or so that you would just like to say, you know, here's how you can actually start today? Or would you like to do that when you get ready to wrap us up?
I'll do both. I'll give a quick tip here and then I'll wrap up. I'll add my journals.
Oh, at the end, after I do the publications. Okay, that's fine. So go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead and say what you're going to say now.
Yeah, I just want to say to people that financial wellness is not, it's a symptom. It's a symptom of the health of your entire system. Yeah. And if we try to just get people to focus just on the finances, they can't do that, because it's not really in their nature to put 100% of that energy into the finances, but understanding that this is their birthright, that they have desire, that, you know, that they can create that container to hold everything that they desire, to set boundaries that are not, you know, are defendable, that they're willing to defend in every aspect. What are they willing to tolerate? What will they allow? What will they not accept? That's another challenge that empaths have, because they tend to absorb everything for everybody. But really becoming clear on what are the boundaries of your container, and then the financial flow will come. So
yes, you have to be high in absorbent. You know, as I teach, you know, you can observe, but you do not have to absorb everything. And if you
can choose
absorbed, if you are going to be absorbent, you need to be at this stage high in absorbent. and leveraging all of the experience of being abundant, holistically abundant in so many areas, but now allowing this part of the trajectory to fill in. Because if you don't allow this part of the trajectory to fill in, then all of what you've done up to this point in your evolution of being extremely abundant and not focusing on the financial aspect, which is fine. But again, we have to know the seasons that we are in our lives, and the seasons in the progression of the evolution of empaths, the evolution of humanity, at this point. And so there has to be the wholeness there. That's why we're talking today about creating more abundance, and financial well-being as it relates to the empathic experience. And that's the enhancement factor, for now. So what I'll do really quick is just, share, some resources that can be, helpful for empaths. And then I'll invite you back in to, share your website and just any other information, which I'll have that, within the description, and then allow you to powerfully close out. So I mentioned that the featured publication for Brenda's is Getting to the Root of Your Financial Greatness for Empaths. It is insights and intentional journal for creating abundance. And she shared what she does around, that area, not just for empaths, but, for others, as well. And it's just a phenomenal resource. And it is available on Amazon. There'll be a link within the description. And also she has a chakra series on Amazon as well. And we talked today about the root chakra. And so she does have a publication. The name of that one is Harnessing the Power of Your Root Chakra? Is that the name of that one, Brenda?
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. But she's got a series on all of them. And she actually has a publication on, was it the basics of harnessing your chakra power? Yeah, for empaths. And so all of those will be within the description, how you can secure copies of those or learn more. And then I have two publications I would like to highlight during this segment here. And because I work primarily in the area of the high energizing empaths and helping them to leverage their high sensitivity to build high-end empires. And so one of the publications is Highly Sensitive to High-End, and it's the basics of becoming an empathic entrepreneur and building a high-end empire. It's a self-guided VIP day intensive workspace planner. And actually, I'm going to mention this one as well, because this publication stemmed from my the masterclass that I mentioned earlier that Brenda also co-facilitated with me. That masterclass was Highly Sensitive to High-End, the right WRITE way. And actually, there's a publication for that one, as well, sort of a twin publication to this one. We talked about abundance and creating more abundance. And in order to do that, you have to first be committed, to this abundance. And so you have to say yes to it. So I have many publications on that area, but one that I want to share is Say Yes to Abundance, and it's an abundance commitment journal planner. And so these are available on Amazon, but as I mentioned too, that there'll be links to this, within the description. So Brenda, would love for you, I'm just thankful that you came on this platform and shared what you shared today. It is tremendous. And I appreciate you because you certainly have enhanced the empathic journey, for others. So I just want to thank you for really co-hosting with me and, collaborating with me today. So I turn it over to you now.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. And I always enjoy collaborating with you. I think that it's through collaboration that we're really going to change the world. I don't think one person can do it on their own.
No.
We need that multifaceted approach to this new world, because it's new for all of us. It's not.
Absolutely.
This accelerated energy is, there's no experts left in the world because nobody has lived through what we're experiencing now. So it really is a collaborative effort, taking your power, your strength, your gifts, and contributing them to a bigger whole. And that's what we really need empaths to step up into, because they all have unique gifts. They all have a unique way of impacting the world. And it's that mosaic of all of those different gifts that is really going to create a legacy that we want to leave behind as we transition into higher vibrations.
Absolutely.
That transition takes courage. It really calls on empaths to play a much bigger game than they're used to playing. And that takes courage. One of the thing that holds you back is pride. People get very stuck in, in their view of what money is, or, many of us have seen the negative aspects of money, the power over and the abuse of that finances, and just don't want to become that. That's our view of what money is. So letting go of that idea of money, of finances, and seeing it as just a powerful energy source like any other source of energy. We'll help people to transition into this new accelerated energy.
Absolutely.
To do that, they have to, it takes courage to take that step into the new when you don't know what you're stepping into. It's like stepping out onto a cloud and, crossing your fingers and hoping it will support you. And the energy is there, the vibration is there. The universe has done their job of opening up portals, of bringing in high vibrational energy for us, of the guidance that they've provided. Now it's up to us. It's up to us. Like, we are the plan forward. We aren't along for the ride. We are driving this evolution. And that comes from the
piloting at this point, because we've ascended. So we're off the ground. We are piloting. The difference between caterpillars and butterflies, after evolution and metamorphosis, we are in divine expression. And so, that's a whole nother segment, but
And that's what I love about this whole step-by-step program that we've collaborated on. The other thing it does is it really honors the speed of time. Not only, we talk about acceleration, it's a real thing. Time is moving faster. The energies are moving much faster. People don't have the time that they used to have to go through, 300-page books to learn on their own. They need that guidance. They need somebody to take their hand and say, here's the next step and here's the next step. That's what empaths are here for. And as we've said, they're gonna move to the top of the food chain. They are really the guides. Nobody can survive without the gifts.
Almost like the bees, in a sense, is that, you take away the bees and you think they may be irritants, but, let them not pollinate and do what they do. And then, the world is different. But so go ahead and wrap us up, share your website and empowering phrase or so. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to help people create this whole way of being. I've got a lot of resources on my website. It's awakeningconsciously.com. And there's all the publications are there. Also, we run courses to help people. There's private coaching, and there's 3-day intensive course. We break it down into deep dives, 1-day courses, 4 or 5 hours into each of the chakras to help people really focus on the health of that and build this very solid system for them to move into the new world. So all of that is on awakeningconsciously.com. And as AliNICOLE so kindly mentioned, that there's a lot of publications up on Amazon. There's the Harnessing the Power of Your Chakra System. That's an 8-book series. And, you know, we have a 30-day wake-up call. We have the getting to the root of financial greatness. All of these are structured to help people wake up into this new energy, to really get themselves prepared to jump into the acceleration, because it's kind of scary if you go from where you are now to jumping into full speed. We help people just kind of evolve into that.
The evolutionary leap instead of a quantum leap, indeed.
Yeah, but the time is now. It really, you use it or lose it. This is the time. You call on those gifts. There's a huge community here to support you, but you have to have the courage to take that first step and join us. So that's what I would invite you to do. That would be my last words is, you know, have the courage to join us and just take the ride. It's an incredible experience.